Okay, so today I'm filming a bit of a process video on a toy in collaboration with Lovesick Tattoo. This is with Tammy. My partner and who I work with. She designed this little guy. It's a two-part figure that she sketched up. And yeah, we've been wanting to make a toy together for a while, and we thought October would be the perfect time to do it. It's kind of like the best time of year with all the spooky stuff. So we've done this variation with a little trick-or-treat pumpkin with some candies and stuff in there. Our plan is to cast these two parts separately, with the face being glow in the dark and then the body being black. So these are obviously resin 3D prints. Tammy sketched them up and then I sculpted them on my iPad. These have been cured and they've also had quite a thick layer of gloss varnish on them. As these two parts will be glued when they're finished, I'm just gonna use a bit of sandpaper to rough up some contact, because the glue needs a little bit of bite to actually stick. And if I put it on these, which are my masters, every one that I cast will have that, so I won't have to do this to each individual figure when it's cast. Doesn't need to be too tidy, just being careful not to sand the outside of the hood. So yeah, you can see, just scratched it up a bit. Doesn't need to be perfect. I won't do that on the back of the faces because I'm going to make these as a basic dump mold, so the back will just be the top level of the resin. So I can give those a quick sand. I'll have to do those each time. After this, I'm just gonna make some little enclosures to pour the silicone into around them. I might even give those a little bit of a scoring with this craft knife. Probably can't see that very well, but I can feel those a bit deeper than the sandpaper, so sometimes you need to see with your fingers. Yeah, that's better. With these being 3D prints, they are hollow. It was actually my first time making hollow prints, and we don't want silicone getting into these and all the air bubbling out. But I think I have a pretty simple solution. I've got these 3M foam pads. I'm going to stick on the bottom, should seal that hole, and then that will also stick it into the bottom of these plastic cups. So I got a plastic cup, cut the bottom off, and it just happens to be a good size, a good diameter, where there's enough space around the figure so that the mold isn't too thin. And then what I can also do is use the bottom of the cup to cast the faces. Just a simple little dump mold. I tried to design both of these parts so that they could just be fairly simple with not too much overhang. This one with the pumpkin does have a bit more overhang than the one without. So if you imagine this is the top of the mold where the resin will be poured into. Any bubbles, hopefully, should come up out the top and not get trapped on these overhangs. I've done quite smooth slopes because I'm not working with a pressure pot, so unfortunately there will be some bubbles, but if we can minimize that in the design, that's ideal. I've got some foam card that I'm going to use as a base, so it's going to be foam card Stick these guys down, and then I'm going to use a hot glue gun just to glue this cup sealed so that it's watertight or silicone tight, and then I'll be able to pour the silicone directly into the top, shake it about a bit, get some of those bubbles out. Fortunately, these aren't perfect. I would have liked to have given them some more gloss varnish, but we've left this project late enough as it is. We've been trying to get materials and they've been out of stock. I've got an order coming today with some more silicone because I do have some, but not enough, I don't think. So this is the silicone that I'm using. It's Polycraft from MB Fiberglass here in the UK. The condensation cure, I think. So basically what that means is the varnish on these or on other things where I've used spray paint, if you use a platinum cure silicone, which is the kind of standard one you'll find online, it's usually like that turquoise greeny color, that won't cure around paint for whatever reason, paint or varnish. It just doesn't like it, and I don't think it likes 3D prints either. So yeah, you got to get the condensation cure stuff, and this will happily cure around 3D prints. I've used it before. This stuff you mix by weight, 10 to 1, so 10 parts silicone to 1 part catalyst. I think for these, against my better judgment, I'm just going to super glue them in, so I might actually rough this up a bit. Now I've not tried pouring silicone around super glue, but the fit on the back of these into this cutout is quite tight, especially with the varnish on there. So don't want to bump these up with these foam pads. It could maybe work, but it's hard to perfectly pour the right level without including this. If you imagine this was part of the resin, I then have to cut that off or sand it off every time. Ideally I want this as flat to the bottom as possible. Worst case scenario, I can just print some more of these printed fairly easily compared to the bodies. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap these both up a little bit, try not to get resin dust everywhere. Very lightly score this because I don't want to go through the plastic. Alright, I'm just going to do this. Will I live to regret it? Probably, but... Well, that was pretty fun. I just recorded a whole segment and then my camera said that it didn't like it and formatted the memory card, so just lost everything I just recorded plus whatever else was on the card. I can't even remember now. Hopefully nothing too important. Anyway, all I did, I've hot glued this part of the cup around it, leaving plenty of space so there's a decent thickness to the wall of the mould, but it's not so thick that you're just wasting silicone. And I also super glued these guys in. Seems to hold, so hopefully that doesn't have any problems with the silicone. Alright gang, so I've had the silicone sat in the airing cupboard warming up a bit. I've not done that before, but it does say it needs to be above 20 degrees Celsius to get the bubbles and stuff out of it, so it doesn't feel cold, which is a good thing. We've got our pieces ready to go. I've got a big tub to mix it in. I can't find my big mixing stick, which is really annoying because I had a strong, quite long handled one that you could really get in there and mix it up, but I've just got a disposable plastic one. Well, it's disposable, but I reuse them a lot. And then got some coffee scales, cleanish cup. Reuse as much as you can. Ah, got the big mixing stick. Hell yeah. So yeah, this silicone comes in 2 parts. You get the main base part, the catalyst, which is much thinner. This is what makes it cure. I'm just going to pour out the rest of this bottle. You'll see it might take a while. Should always be prepared to make a mess when you're doing this stuff. And we want 26 grams of the catalyst. I did shake this earlier, you are meant to shake this every time. See how much is in this bottle. Oh. Oh well, probably overshot it a little bit, but that will just make it set a bit quicker and harder, I think. Or at least a bit quicker. They normally give you the correct amount for the full bottle. So this is like a kit. But obviously, I can never get the last little bit out of here, so it makes sense that we got a little bit left in this one. Cool. Now, not so fun part. Mix it all together. Trick with this is to try and mix it without introducing too much air. So you scrape the sides and the bottom. I think it's inevitable you are going to end up with some bubbles introduced. So you're meant to mix it until it's one consistent colour. It won't show up on camera, but I can see this is a bit streaky. I've got this tray that I'm just going to put under, just in case I didn't do a very good job of gluing those, and because I know I'm going to spill some in between anyway. So you can see there's quite a lot of bubbles in here. It's not as warm as I hoped it would be actually. It's the only thing about living in the UK, especially in October, everything's cold all the time. I think there's probably enough in here to pour the body and maybe at least one of the faces. The trick with this is to come up high and pour like a thin strip of it in, so that the bubbles should sort of split or break on their way. It's not ideal to go straight on top of the figure like that, so I'm going to try and push it down the side. If you are short of silicone, you can use chunks of already cured silicone to raise the level, you know, to displace the liquid. But it also sticks to itself, so if you have to let it cure, but you can get some more and top it up. So we tap these. We want the silicone to go into the cavities of the eyes and the nose on the face. So just try and knock them out. This silicone does take sort of 12 to 16 hours or so to cure, so we've got plenty of time. Get some little splashes everywhere then. Don't do that, make sure you wear goggles. Wouldn't want this in your eyes. If you had a vacuum chamber, now would be the time to use that to degas your silicone. I don't, so we just do it the caveman way, just bonk it. Same technique, pouring it from up high. There's a fair bit of silicone left over, so I'm just going to grab a little plastic shot glass to put it into. It might be enough to cast a small piece, like a head or a small figure, so I'll see if I can manage that, and if not, I'll just pour it into a shot glass to have a nice chunk. It can be used, like I said, you can use it to fill out moulds if you don't quite have enough, and it's easier to use a solid chunk like that than what's left in the cup afterwards when you pull it out. Remember how I said silicone sticks to itself? Well, curiosity's got the better of me, and I've got this old Speed Skull mould. It's not the one I use anymore. This is premium silicone that I was talking about before. But I think if I give it a really good spray of this, I might be able to make a little silicone Speed Skull, which could be cool, just as a little one-off for myself. So this is Macquack's Release Agent. exactly what it sounds like. You wouldn't normally use that much, but we're experimenting.
Get with it.